Season 8, Episode 34, where we watch The Secret Lives of Mormon
Secret?
Wives, Season 1, Episode 1. And these boobies are boobin'. I'm Chris Lorenz.
By the end of the night, I barely want to have sex with my husband. I don't know if I can handle 4 other guys. This is Brian.
I've made out with all of the husbands. This is Max.
And
I'm getting effed up. I'm Christina.
those are all quotes from this week's show. But last week, we watched Chimp Crazy, and we had a poll on Twitter at Who Put This On. You guys voted it a top third show. Brian, what show do we watch this week?
This week we watched The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. The scandalous world of a group of Mormon mom influencers implodes when they get caught in the midst of a swinging sex scandal that makes international headlines. Now, their sisterhood is shook to its core. Faith, friendship, and reputations are all on the line. Will #momtok be able to survive and continue to grace the rule book a run for its money? Or will this group fall from grace? And that's Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. Whoa.
Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
It's a tongue twister, but I kind of like the rhyme. You know, we don't have too many rhyme shows.
It's true. Yeah, so this show is just kind of like a Real Housewives-esque show where they have a group of friends and you follow them.
But they've all made out with each other's husbands.
Well, here, let's just talk about this right at the top. So there's this TikTok group of friends, Taylor, Frankie, Paul.
To be clear, that's one person. It's not 3. Yeah.
Good point. So from what I gather from TikTok is that her and her ex-husband now were the original mom talkers, and with 2 other women that aren't on the show. Her best friend and, somebody else. And they started soft swinging, which, Max, do you need me to explain what soft swinging is?
I actually don't know. I don't know the specific details of this arrangements.
So
They explained it on the show.
soft swinging.
I watched it a week ago, and you can't expect me to retain this information for this long.
So soft swinging is when they're in the same room, but you're not swapping partners.
That's not what they said on the show. They
Isn't
said it was everything but sex.
Is that
Yeah.
what they said on the show?
Yep. And then
Okay,
they also
all right.
asked if that involves oral too.
And they said yes.
Okay, here's the thing. If you're going that far, why not just go all the way? Like,
I mean,
I don't know.
Have you heard of soaking before?
Oh, yeah, of course.
They're Mormons. They do weird shit. Yeah.
Do you know about the jumping on the beds?
Isn't that what soaking is?
So
I think so. Does Christina not know about soaking?
no, I know. I thought he
Okay.
was saying soap.
Soaking.
Yeah, soak.
Yeah, soaking.
I thought soaking was just leaving it in, and then the jumping on the bed was like a new twist on it.
I thought that was all in on that. I thought that was the whole thing.
I don't know. Anyway, back to the show.
Anyway, back to the story. So they're like soft swinging turns into swinging. And apparently some feelings are caught between people, and Taylor caught feelings for somebody and then cheated is what happened. And then she gets caught, everything whole blows up, and she goes on live and confesses to the whole thing. And that's like the whole scandal.
But she ends up getting a divorce. But the other 2 couples, I believe, are still together.
Well, I think that the 2 main people that were in the swinging broke up. But there's Whitney, which is on the show, which is not part of the swinging.
Yeah, there
She
were a
didn't-
lot of mom talkers that
Well-
were at the parties, but apparently didn't know the swinging happened like once they left.
Yeah.
So I think the mom talkers, a lot of the original mom talkers are the ones on the show. They just weren't all swinging.
They just weren't in the swinging thing.
Yeah.
And apparently when Taylor did this live, it wasn't really clear who was in and who was out.
Yeah, she made it seem like it was all of them.
Which
I think it was a small subset.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, clearly why I think you'd be upset.
Yeah, do we think they played that up in order to get this TV show? Like, do you think the producers knew that not all of them were in on the swinging when they agreed to it?
I don't know.
It made good TV.
Okay, there is something else that needs to be said about the show. Nobody wanted to pick it up. The second episode takes place 11 months later after the pilot.
Interesting. There definitely was we watched this episode and then we watched the season on, and she was real pregnant, and she was not pregnant.
Oh,
yeah, that
no,
makes sense.
She is real pregnant by episode 2. It's crazy. It's just 11 months later. Okay, no, I'll get back to what happens on episode 2.
Okay, yeah, I didn't watch episode 2. So all right, so that's kind of the setup for the show, is that they're the mom talkers, there's this drama, and then the show is kind of the aftermath of this. And a big part of this episode is one of the OG mom talkers coming back to, what town are they in? Did they ever say?
Somewhere near Salt Lake City, Utah, I think.
Yeah, moving back from Hawaii because she needed, quote unquote, some time away from.
Moving back from 2 months in Hawaii.
2 months. Can somebody, Brian, can you explain this to me? Do you just go on vacation for 2 months? Would you call that moving to Hawaii for 2 months? Or was your plan to be there longer? What's going on here?
I was initially yeah, you can't say you're moving somewhere, but now I'm if you spend more than a month somewhere, you can maybe say you're moving there.
I don't think so. That implies that you're literally staying there.
But you stayed there for 2 months. What's
that you were going to go move to Alaska for the summer? Okay, you've quantified how long you're going to be there.
Okay,
but
so
they might
maybe
not have known when they went how long they were going to be there.
And then I just said,
yeah,
it's an insane lack of planning to move somewhere and then say, fuck this after 2 months.
But then they move back into a house that they
what the fuck is that?
Without looking at it.
Although, so spoiler, I've watched the whole season. And apparently I saw something online that later in the season, I didn't catch this when I watched it, but they're in a house. They're in their house, but the cabinets are completely different. It seems like it was just staged, and that's not actually the house they moved into.
Different house, yeah.
That's interesting.
That's what I kind of assumed was okay, let's pretend like we're moving back for this show, and if a show gets picked up, maybe we'll actually move back.
Yeah, that appears to be.
Or you're moving back and you need to shoot this show or something without a house.
Yeah, because also if you look, there was nothing in that house, even if they had just moved back, you would have more stuff on day one than that.
And the car was full though.
Yeah, was anyone else concerned for the children in that car when they showed them driving? And the boxes, you could not see. There were 2 kids, I think, in there.
No, it was a shock surprise when you hear a voice come out from all these boxes. That's insane.
And I'm you better not go over a bump and anything shift, because that child would have been smushed.
Follow-up question: it's not like they drove back from Hawaii. What the fuck is going on?
Right? It's a good point. Do you think they just staged that? Those boxes were empty?
I had no idea.
I hope so. Reduces liability.
I mean, so the other thing I guess we could talk about for the minutia of the show is they're all Mormon. And we all know from the South Park thing that the Mormon story is all a bunch of hooey. Like it's, I don't want to offend
Yeah.
Mormons out there, but they also have, like, I guess what's important to the show is that they have rules against drinking, premarital sex, and
Coffee.
coffee,
Yeah,
which like
caffeine.
the
Yeah.
first shot of the show that we actually see people is they go to a coffee shop and drink coffee. And like that's the level of Mormon we're talking about here.
Yeah, I was going to say, these Mormons, the majority of them on the show are not following the rules.
Yeah, I mean a couple of them are divorced, right? Or just there's just the main person.
There's another one. They didn't feature everyone in the first episode.
No, they did throw a lot of names, but
Well, they
Yeah, like-
mentioned well, we could go through them if we want. About Taylor. She's the one that has a new boyfriend, Dakota, and then we meet her mom, which whatever. It was kind of a weird setup where like there were like 6 or 7 women and they were all around like a table discussing the other person not on the show, Taylor, not in the room, and then Taylor was with her mom, and they were like just opposing those two together, and they were like kind of throwing shade at Taylor in that meeting. I assume that they do a lot of these shows.
Yeah, I don't get the feeling that anybody likes Taylor.
But she's the OG. She's the one that they need for this show.
Yeah.
Because she is the drama.
She's the king of Siesta Key of this show.
Yeah. So she's also the furthest Mormon. Like she was swinging. She likes to party.
Premarital sex.
Yeah. So they end this episode with a pretty serious incident between her and her new boyfriend, Dakota. And Dakota, they had some sort of domestic violence incident where there's like a he said, she said situation, according to the show. But the cops arrest her. So I'm not sure how much of a he said, she said situation.
Well, it sounds like she was super drunk and he wasn't. So they probably
don't believe
the
person.
Yeah.
I mean, they had the footage, but yeah.
Well, they have the footage of the cops. They don't have the footage of the fight.
Right. True.
Yeah, we were watching the cop footage.
All of this to say, episode 2 opens up, and she's so pregnant immediately, and she's like, "Yeah, we made up, and this is his child." It's the most insane cut.
I was really looking forward to this drama between like this person that she's like gonna break up with because there was this whole huge fight, and you're telling me
they gloss right over that.
Yeah.
it's just like the worst stinger of all time.
But my guess is it happened sometime in that 11 months between, and so they had no footage, and they worked through it in sometime in that year, essentially.
I mean, made for a great stinger, but if they didn't have the cop footage, I don't think we'd ever know about it. There'd be no point. I'd argue the show might be better without that stinger. Because like
not even worrying about that.
Yeah, if they just ignore it, like I don't.
Well, no, it's just they had no drama in their lives, and they needed to give you something.
There's drama. Max, are you a Team Whitney or Team Taylor?
Team. I want to throw myself off a building.
Well, it's probably
never changed, Max.
Time to talk about Whitney. So Whitney's the one that moved back from Hawaii, and she was one of the OG TikTok moms, and they had an incident where her husband was on Tinder.
Oh yeah,
and like he claims that he never met anyone. He just exchanged photos, which definitely not great.
And he had a porn addiction.
That's such a classic go to, oh, it's not my fault. I'm a piece of shit. I blame porn.
That's a good point. I mean, it is. Especially like probably the Tinder trying to get the photo brings
But
back AOL chat rooms. I think
had
for me.
anybody, like, before this show, has anybody seen any of these people's TikToks? Because they apparently
have-
have decent followings.
I have not. I did hear about some Mormon TikTok swinging thing like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So like I did hear of this incident, but I obviously that's not exactly the type of TikToks I'm subscribed to.
If somebody's just dancing on my TikTok, that's a swipe.
Yeah.
I'm not watching anyone dancing on TikTok, so absolutely not. But I did watch the Max sent me a TikTok of one of these women and explaining why her baby was at the NICU in a dance that was very inappropriate for like the state health of that baby.
That was Whitney.
That was Whitney.
Like her 2-week-old baby is in this like you know how they have the babies in these like transparent things when they're real sick, and she's just doing these crazy dance moves, explaining like, "Oh, my kid has RSV." She's like shaking her ass and shit. It's funny.
Yeah,
It's really
just,
tasteful.
it's like her dancing, and then a text over her explaining that
My child is dying.
Yeah. Okay. We probably shouldn't laugh at it, but I assume
Poor taste. The kid, yeah, the kid survived, but she got a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure. Maybe you can explain, Christina. This season on made it seem like there's a Team Whitney and a Team Taylor.
Right.
Is that correct?
Yes, maybe. Well, nobody likes Whitney. I'll give you the spoiler. You kind of think you should hate Taylor, and like she's not a great person per se, but she's a lot more likable than Whitney.
I gotta say, I'm shocked. I believe you. I'm shocked.
Taylor definitely seems likable, but she blew up the group, so I could see not wanting to like her. Now, whether she has the charisma to get around that.
Yeah,
'cause
see,
your
that's
work-
the thing. I think she's got the charisma to kind of like bring them back in.
Yeah, but like Whitney, I agree with you. Definitely seems very standoffish, and I couldn't tell if that was just because she vehemently hates Taylor, or because that's the only interaction we saw with Whitney. It was Whitney and Taylor. Somebody else that I don't know.
Yeah. The other thing you have to keep in mind is most of these people are in their early 20s.
Oh, I
So
wrote down everyone's age.
So
too.
it's like the petty like arguments, and like they just don't have the experience to actually work through anything.
It's true.
I mean, the one girl, Michaela, I think she's 23, I believe, and has 3 children.
Yeah, that's
Michaela,
wild.
Married for 6 years, has 3 kids with Chase. She's 23, yes. Which is, she said she got pregnant before they got married. So that wedding was real quick.
Mm-hmm. Shotgun. Is this the one who?
I just want to know, for the listeners that don't know what a shotgun wedding is, and just hear you go.
Shotgun.
Google it. Yeah, Michaela, she's the youngest. Then we've got Jen. She was 24. She was at the swinging parties, but didn't know they were swinging.
Fun fact about Jen: every time they show her name, they show her last name, Jen Affleck, because her husband is like second cousins with Ben Affleck.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Your name rhyming with Ben Affleck is very funny. Cool.
Then we got Macy. She's 27. She was with Jacob for 5 years. Is the only thing I wrote about Macy.
He never initiates sex.
I'm surprised that wasn't anyone's quotes.
It was up
Well,
there.
I was gonna do boobies or boobin, but
I know. I saw you in the. That was the best quote for sure. Best quote in a while, I think. Then we got Demi. She's 29. She's been married for 3 years. Very much an outlier, unless she's been divorced. I don't know how you make it to 26 as a Mormon, not being married. Like, that's a long time.
also her husband is 46.
Oh, yeah. I did write
Yeah.
46, but I didn't know what that meant.
He's
That's all I wrote.
46.
But all I wrote
He's-
was 46.
He is 17 years older than her.
Certainly
that
not.
must be God's plan.
Well, I mean, that's how it works. These kings and like heads of, the Mormonism were like, let me marry 70 people. Like,
They're
what's
not
his
doing
name?
that now.
Not now, but like back in the day,
Oh yeah.
Joseph Smith literally had like 70 wives, and they would marry like 14-year-olds, and they'd have
Oh,
to
yeah.
run from the law.
Oh,
Yeah. I actually literally watched some YouTube video about so apparently the leader of the Mormon church is called like a prophet,
Mhm.
and he runs the Mormon church, which I saw some video about Mormon prophets, and polygamism was brought up, which isn't the focus of this show, but is the focus of Sister Wives, which is a great podcast you should listen to. Very good one. Christina's favorite show of all time.
Mm.
I wouldn't go that far, but I do watch the show.
I think for you, it's got to be in the top 10. Like,
How many sister wives are there in that polycule?
Well, now they're down to one because they all left Cody.
Oh my God! How do they continue the show? Sister wife.
That's what we're about to find out in this next
That's
season.
crazy.
Wow.
I love that though.
you should be
who
creating the
is that?
stingers.
That's some good lore.
Then we got Jessie. She's 30. She's a hairdresser, she claims, but then describes like she owns hairdressers, like hairdress places, and has like an empire of hairdressing.
But you got to talk about the name of it.
What? Oh, it's Jizz Hair.
Yeah. How do you spell it, Chris?
JZ Hair.
And she's like, if you don't get it, if you call it jizz hair, that's just disrespectful. You're just dumb. Get your head out the gutter. No, don't name your business jizz hair.
Yeah.
So there's a silent eye, but it's there, or it's like an invisible eye, but it's
Brian, would you go to Jizz Hair for a haircut?
Hell no.
there. Would you buy some Jizz Hair products?
Absolutely. You know the
Yeah,
guys do this stuff.
Maybe she got the idea from There's Something About Mary, and like, I'd like that product. Literally.
Okay, I have to do a little internet cornering.
Yeah,
Okay.
have at it.
There seems to be some late breaking news as of a day ago. Seems like Taylor and Dakota may have split.
Oh,
Shockers.
or
This is why we watch this show, so we can get all the
Man.
tea. Let's see what else. What other notes? Those are all the people on the show.
No, there's more. That's the thing. You watch season 2 and there's like 3 or 4
dude,
more.
there's a season 2.
There's no
or not season 2,
two.
episode
Oh,
2.
episode 2.
Sorry, 2 and 3, but they haven't even gone through everyone. I think
Do they drop people?
no, it's this huge group of women.
But do they all hang out in this? So the idea is that they all hang out at this house and make TikToks.
They say
Yeah.
that in episode 1, but then that never really happens. They just like go out to
May-
dinner or like have a party at someone's house.
Maybe that was kind of like the original Mom Talk setup. Also, imagine naming your crew Mom Talk. there's lots of other moms on TikTok.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
Come
It's
up
like,
with your own brands.
How do you get away with just calling it mom talk? Like,
Yeah.
that can't be. It's not right.
Did it though?
I mean, it's a good brand though. If you get quarter mom talk, that like when somebody searches mom talk, and you're the number one result, and it has nothing to do with being a mom, really, just you dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's some good numbers for you. Yeah. I mean, the other thing is like probably watching them do like perform these dances or get ready for these dances isn't that exciting. So
but they don't really focus on that. It's more Real Housewives-esque.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Where it's all about the drama between them. And then the other thing, I would love to know how much money they all make, because as you go into the season, it's basically they are supporting all of their husbands. They're like, they are all the breadwinners with their TikTok income. And
that's
brand
wild.
deals.
I mean, I hope they're off TikTok, not just on TikTok. I imagine so. Because TikTok, they just like, they're too fluky to rely on, I think. But
I don't know. They
what
call
is Chris
themselves
talking
Mom
about?
Talk.
I'm just saying, if you follow people on TikTok, you don't see their videos. I'm on TikTok a lot. I follow a lot of people. I never see people I follow videos.
But they're making their money from brand deals, I think. I don't think they make their money just from from TikTok.
Right. Trying to make sure they have other revenue streams, okay, Max? I'm worried about them.
I understand.
Any other minutia we need to bring up?
Let me go through my list.
Nothing. There's a scene where Whitney and Taylor meet for the first time after she moved away and then moved back.
Yeah. We were air quoting that.
Sorry. Where Whitney was like, I just want an apology from you, Taylor. And Taylor's just like, for what? And then when he's like, for blowing up Mom Talk, you idiot. And she's like, I'm not sorry for that. And I thought that was
she's like, I guess I apologize. Actually, no, I'm not going to apologize for that.
She like gets to a point where she's like, I'm sorry, or I apologize if I didn't exclude you specifically. But I had to do what I had to do. Or something like that, where it's like an apology, not apology. Which I thought was quite entertaining. Probably the most entertaining of the whole show.
I'd agree.
Now we can get to our most interesting question for this show. Is who's the worst human being? Is it Taylor?
I'm going to go with that husband that was on Tinder.
Yeah, that's a pretty good... I'm going to go with the concept of porn. It's the reason he was on Tinder.
The invention of the photograph is really it's really their fault. The inventor of the photograph that he's addicted.
Okay, so wait. I didn't quite understand what was going on when like they were just talking on the couch, because they were like, oh yeah, like the way that they're talking about it makes me seem like the victim. Like, did she do something as well?
I don't know.
I think they were just referring to the fact that she then like lied to all her friends when they're like, hey, did your husband, like, is this true? Because I think what's weird is like they were sort of famous because of their TikTok following. So news got out and then she tried to sweep it under the rug. I don't know. That was how I took it. Okay. I'm not sure if that was the case, because I don't think she did anything outside of that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he was shitty, but Taylor also like full blown cheated and like broke up like an entire like revenue stream in her friend group.
It's true.
I mean, is Mom Talk dead? They have a TV show.
Hulu could be desperate.
Do you think Taylor got them the TV show? Who orchestrated
Like, I
it?
don't think this TV show exists without Taylor's video.
I can't see a world where one of them got the ball rolling on this, and then Taylor became, the number one favorite.
Yeah, like, who's the 1-800 Ask Gary of the situation? And like,
Actually, what if they came to Momtok and said, "We want to make a show about you"?
who's they?
I don't know.
Hulu.
They. All right.
Hulu/ABC. Like,
The guy.
I'm going to the Wikipedia. Give me 30 seconds.
The man.
no, like this was advertised at the end of Bachelorette. Like they were like, "Oh yeah, make sure to check out this show."
I mean, it seems like more of a Real Housewives thing than.
Yeah, I do think the advertising was a bit. They really focused on the swinging part, and then you watch it, and you're like, "Oh, the swinging scandal has nothing really to do with the show, outside of it caused tension in the group."
Confirmed. The producers came to them first.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. They wouldn't even know who these people were without that scandal. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a 1 step back, 2 steps forward kind of
It's
situation.
true.
Where it's like they all kind of like
That's-
immediately were pissed that they lost revenue, but then like 2 months later they're bigger than ever
Yeah.
because
That's why Taylor's not apologizing.
Yeah,
like, you should apologize to me. you should be thanking me, not asking for an apology, right? But she is shitty for cheating on her husband. So,
But like, it was okay when he was watching. It just wasn't okay when.
yeah, she went beyond the line. It was
Okay.
considered cheating, according to
I think the whole thing was cheating, but
I guess sanctions versus unsanctioned.
Are you Jesus, Joseph Smith? Are you Jesus? Like, are we? What's going on here? Who gets to judge who here? All right, Max. The most
Hey.
important question we have:
Yeah.
what speed did you watch this show at? And I think I'm gonna go 1. No, he wouldn't go 1.5. He would go 2. I'm gonna go 2x. Christina, what speed do you think Max watched this show at?
he watched it a week ago, so he wasn't crunched for time. I'm gonna say normal speed.
Brian?
I'm gonna go 1.5.
It was normal speed. No reason.
Oh,
right.
Christina, you
Did
won.
you watch it with Liv?
Yes.
See, that was my thought process. If
But-
you watch with someone else,
But other shows, she's very much on board with 1.25, 1.5.
Not 2.
Never
Or-
2.
2.6. You watched that other show at?
Man, I don't even remember what show that was because it was so bad.
I think it was the Dallas Cowboys cheerleader.
Oh. Probably? I
Uh,
kind of liked that one, though.
Oh, was it
it was-
Barbecue High? I'm looking.
It was probably, it was definitely Barbecue High. That was the slowest shit. Like,
All right. So drinking rules.
every time you drink, you've committed a sin. Go confess or whatever the Mormons do.
Go straight to hell.
Go straight to hell.
Brian, you have a drinking rule?
Anytime something sexual is brought up, take a drink. We're going after our listeners this week.
Anytime a TikTok is shown, take a drink.
That's a good one.
Christina, you watched the whole thing.
I don't have a good one right now.
You watched the whole thing. How do you not have a good one?
Anytime they break a Mormon rule, take a drink.
That's a good one.
Every time you mistake one Mormon woman for another Mormon woman, take a drink.
Anytime you're grossed out by how orange that person's hair was, take a drink. Christina.
Anytime you notice lip fillers, take a drink.
Especially, just keep drinking during the lip filler segment of the show.
Wait,
Every
tattoos aren't
time
okay, but
some
lip filler is?
No,
That's a great
later
point.
in a later episode, I was telling Chris about this. They go, I think it's to get, I forget if it's Botox or lip filler, but or maybe both. And they go to a specific place that gives them laughing gas so that they can like get high because they like the feeling of the laughing gas, but like they can't actually um do any type of other drugs.
That's insane.
Oh.
So they just get fucked up on laughing gas because the church forgot to outlaw this one thing.
Yep.
I
Well,
love
I mean,
that.
they want you to be able to have surgeries and stuff.
Right. It's for medical reasons. Kind of.
I just feel like the church could have
I don't
figured
think.
it out.
Well, the thing here is you are the one that are like the spirit of the law is not to get fucked up. So it's up to you as a Mormon person to be like, well, I shouldn't get laughing gas when I don't need laughing
Mm.
gas because it's against the spirit of what is written. Like I don't think you need Joseph Smith to like come down and tell you don't do cocaine for you to be like, oh, go do cocaine is bad. If
It used to be
doing
medicine, though.
I'm sure caffeine isn't in. It might not be in the original document. I don't know. It could be because it does seem like not a drug according to most people. Where laughing gas is definitely a drug. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know how that works. Would this show be better as a Quibi or a TikTok? Brian, what do
I
you got?
don't, I don't, I don't know if it'd be better as a TikTok. I could break it down like a TikTok and it would catch my attention, but I don't think better.
Is there an argument that this already is a TikTok?
Yeah.
I don't think so
No.
because you don't get the drama in the TikToks that are out there. You only get the,
How do you know?
I mean, most of their TikToks are them dancing.
Okay, all right. I agree. I don't think the show would be better as a Quibi, but I'd argue it could be a TikTok. I don't know. I'm not going to argue, but I could argue. What do you love about the show, Max?
I am fascinated by Utah and Mormons. So every time I get to dip my toes back in,
I'll send you that video. I think you'll like it.
oh, I know way too much about them. I know. Do you know that Brigham Young kind of like he's the successor to Joseph Smith, and he kind of like took it in his own direction that Joseph Smith was not a fan of, and his wife was not a fan of. Getting real in the weeds here.
Also, I'm not.
No.
I'm also not sure I care that much either. Brian, what do you love about this show?
Yeah, kind of similar to Max. Like, I definitely like learning a little bit more about a different religion, but this is also kind of showing how strict the rules are and what people are like just breaking all of those rules at once.
Yeah, I'm not sure this is the best group of people to follow to get your Mormon
No,
fix.
no, but at least know like what rules are breaking as they break them.
One TikTok I saw recently, like I'm in some sort of ex-Mormon talk. I don't know. I see this woman every once in a while where she's like, there is a Mormon look because all these people moved to Utah like a couple hundred years ago and they've been interbreeding a lot and they like breed lots of children and they kind of have this like, blonde hair, blue eyes kind of look to them. And there's a lot of plastic surgery in the area to look like that because that's what what people find attractive, I guess, if you're a Mormon.
Mm.
So that was interesting. Christina, what do you love about this show?
I definitely like the glimpse into the Mormon culture in Salt Lake City. Agree with Max and Brian on that one. I also like that given the name like Mormon Wives, Momtok, they actually don't feature their kids very much. Like they're not actually the focus of the show, which I think is
Yeah.
good because these kids don't need to be like on reality shows like without any sort of consent. So I like that it's focused on the adults.
I love that this really focused on the drama fallout of like a really big fuck up. Like I don't know if it's fuck up, but a really big like explosion to a like friend group, and that's pretty fascinating to me. I think that's like, but then like everyone having to come back together because this is their moneymaker is just
Mm.
like such a dynamic that I think is so fascinating that like it definitely gets me through this dry show, which we could talk about. Well, it's just like I don't think the show's all that interesting, but I'm fascinated by this like group dynamics of like how they all have to be together, but they all probably hate one or the other or another one of them, and like they all rely on each other, which is I don't know. That's what really brings the show through to the end, at least of episode 1 to me. I don't know if anyone has any comments to that.
I'm curious, Christina. Does this come up that much in the rest of the show, or are they just like, yeah, we're living with it, whatever?
I would say the tensions in the group definitely
Continue.
continue.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it's all stemmed from the swinging scandal, but I think like there is definitely distrust and like towards Taylor. I feel like there's definitely that, and then I don't know. They managed to find drama throughout the whole season for a number of different reasons. So I'd say it's a good sideshow if you want to follow the drama.
It seems like the producers might have picked like a good group of people to be on one of these shows, unlike those Real Housewives shows are general. Like sometimes they just took a group of rich people and said, "Hey, let's film you guys becoming friends" or something, and like it was kind of clear that that doesn't work. But what do I know? I don't know. Jersey Shore, that worked well. I don't know. Let's get to ratings. So we got a top, middle, bottom, third uh, bucket rating. So they should be equal buckets max of top third reality shows, middle third reality shows, and bottom third reality shows. Max.
Middle third, bottom of the middle. It was pretty inoffensive, but not that much happens. But it wasn't that bad.
So you continue with your one top third in the last 30 shows.
Yeah, Chris. You think I'm giving this a top third? Do you think this is? Tell me, Chris. What do you think? Is this a top third deserving?
I agree. It is a middle third show. It should be a bottom third
Chris,
show.
you're not giving me a top third.
I've given a lot of top thirds here, Max. I've given a lot of top thirds here.
True.
I feel like I only ever come on the pod when I've watched like the entire season, so I'm like always in the top.
That's true. We can look at the stats.
That's fair.
We have the spreadsheet.
Yeah. I think just by the fact I've watched the whole season, I kind of have to put it in the top. I'd say bottom of the top. I don't think it was amazing. I watched all of the Chimp show from last week. And that I thought was
hell yeah.
Once we're through ratings.
But this one, yeah, I'd say bottom of the top.
Yeah, middle. I'll just finish my middle third thing. I think my rant about how it's like fascinating to see this friend dynamic really pulls this like up a whole third. Like it would be bottom third just watching a bunch of group of women petty back and forth around stupid drama that literally I could care less about.
I mean, you do kind of have to keep watching the show though. Like they go to Vegas. It's worth watching.
Ooh.
From somebody that says it's top 30.
Okay, Brian, what was yours?
I think I'm gonna go directly in the middle. Yeah, it wasn't inoffensive, but it was also just kind of like, what sparked them to get the show. The initial drama didn't even seem like that bad, but now there's a whole show with that as the premise.
I mean, do you need a lot? They just have a group of women that can fight back and forth. Have you seen how many Real Housewives shows there are? Why not?
I feel like that's more relatable to people though, or just maybe like
Real mom
a little bit
people,
more interesting.
Like everyone's a mom. I feel like this thing should be called Mom Talk, but I feel like there might have been some sort of like legal or like copyright things against it. Because Secret Lives of Mormon Wives doesn't like, I don't know, doesn't really get me to watch the show.
I mean, it could for some people, given that like,
Yeah.
oh, maybe there are secrets to that life, but no, this isn't even like Mormon lives. Like, this is just the exact opposite of it.
Sorry, I just remembered there is the scene where two of them supposedly try alcohol for the first time.
Oh yeah,
The champagne.
Champagne. Yeah, which is like one of the least offensive alcohols, and like they take a sip and they're like, "Oh my god, people drink this stuff on purpose." I don't believe for a goddamn second neither of them has drank before.
yeah. She was at the parties.
Yeah,
That was Whitney. She was at the parties.
And like, yeah, like you're telling me you haven't had a mimosa?
But I do agree that I don't like champagne. I think champagne tastes terrible. So,
you ever do the Cooks Challenge, Chris?
I plead the fifth.
The Cooks Challenge is when you get some cheap champagne, like $5, and you down the entire bottle. I don't think it's actually $5.
And how did you feel the next day, Max, when you did that?
So burpy.
All right, tell us what you thought about the show on our poll on Twitter at Who Put This On. Now we do shout outs of other stuff we've been watching. And Christina and I have finished the Chimp Crazy Show from 2 weeks ago. I don't know if anyone else has continued watching it.
I have also completed it.
Brian?
I have not, but feel free to talk about it. But yeah, it will happen.
Wild. I just think it's like so wild, that show.
I mean, it's very wild for sure.
The reveal at the end of episode 2 is so good.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching. 100%. And like these people like keep wanting these chimps and people's faces get ripped off.
Yeah, like adult chimpanzees are not a safe animal to be in your home.
Yeah.
No.
And the one woman's just like, I just want to buy this island and put some chimps and gorillas and orangutans and just live with them. I want them to be able to come in and get a peanut butter jelly sandwich. Like, she is.
It's too
nuts.
crazy.
It's out of control.
That's my recommendation for the week. Taskmaster is back. UK Taskmaster.
And AU.
I saw. I haven't finished the last Australia season yet.
There's a new documentary on Hope Solo, the U.S. soccer goalie. Pretty good.
I only know a Han Solo. It's not about Han Solo.
No.
They already did a story on Han Solo. That was a documentary, right? Right, Max?
Is my name Leg? I don't know. You started saying my name weird. Yeah, totally. Yeah, whatever. Fuck that movie. It's not that bad, actually.
Max, any shout outs this week?
I don't think so.
Brian, shout outs?
New Survivor. Kenny and I just checked out the first episode. Pretty good so far.
Yeah, I need it. We haven't watched it yet.
It's on our list.
Yeah, I feel like episode 2 is like coming up.
What's the theme this season?
There is no themes. It's the most bullshit thing. Like,
yeah, bring back David versus Goliath versus Braun or whatever.
Well, there was like the first 20 some seasons. They had they went to different places. The theme was China. theme was Africa.
They must have some sort of
Well, they did have like
deal with Fiji.
they do, but they had the race war season, is what I was going to mention. Then they moved to Fiji, and like up to season 40, they had a theme each season, and then COVID happened, and now seasons 41 through 47 have been exactly the same. Start out with 3 tribes with what, 8 people, 6 people in them, 7 people in them, or something, whatever.
Something like that.
And one tribe gets obliterated 4 out of 5 times, and then the other 2 tribes fight for power as they join together, and it's exactly the same. So it's like, do I get excited for Survivor or not? I don't know. It is still entertaining, but I wish they would change it up in a more meaningful way than like, oh no, now the idols are bad but also good, so you still want them in a different way. It's like, that's not changing it up. Like, have 2 tribes, have 7 tribes. I don't care. Like, do something different. Yeah. All right. That's it for us this week. Tell us your own Survivor issues at Hoopithason on Facebook.com/Hoopithason. Email us questions, suggestions at hoopithason@gmail.com. But next time, what do we want to watch? Do we want to talk about it, or do we just want to?
I want to go to sleep. You guys can talk about it.
All right. Well, I think that we're going to do either Coming from America or Naked and Afraid, Last One Standing.
I'm okay. I'm kind of leaning the Coming from America.
Let's do that then.
All right. Let's do it. We're season 1, episode 1 of Coming from America next week. We'll see you guys next time.